Hello.
Good morning.
Welcome. It has been a long time since we have put up any kind of video. I think the last one was the Gravy working on his, what's that? Oh, the Elite, right?
Yeah.
So,
sorry about that.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
We're busy.
Got things like, we work, whatever. But we're back, and I think this is not quite the big finish, but we're close. This is nearly complete with the Huskymobile. And I have great news. We have managed to preserve the patina of this machine.
Oh, thank God.
As I promised in our first video. Fuck.
Okay. I'm excited to see the patina.
We're gonna head on in and we'll check it out, and we'll start at one end and work our way to the other. There's a lot that needs explaining, or doesn't need explaining, but I'm going to tell you anyway. So come on, let's go.
All right.
Is that good?
Yeah, we're still rolling.
Oh, we're still rolling. Here we are, and here's the machine. It's nearly finished. You see the hood isn't quite here yet, but...
Holy crap! Where's the patina?
What do you mean?
He said he saved the patina.
I did save the patina.
Okay. Where is it?
I'll show you where it is. There it is.
Oh boy.
That is all the patina. It's all here. It's perfectly preserved.
Oh my God.
Saved it all.
So this is gonna all get set back to the Flin Flon Museum?
Well,
What?
I mean, joking aside, some of the, like a lot of this was all stuff that needed to be replaced. There are people out there that I'm sure will chastise me, but for, replacing as much as I did, but there was really, once you were in there, it had to be done. So I didn't want to. There's so much cracked and broken.
So that's your engine plate is all falling apart, your panels. I don't think you can get too much grief for that.
No.
Okay, let's go back in and look. Well, again, thank goodness we've saved the patina. Okay.
Well, there you go. That is all the patina saved. So there is a reason we had to. It was like cutting cancer out of a victim, I guess. But in this case, we can save the victim.
Very good.
Yeah, without having to regrow limbs.
Okay, where are we starting?
Where do we start? All right. Well, where did we end in the last video? I think we showed the frame was done, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember if the track was on. Was the track on?
We looked at the assembly of the track.
Okay. So, and the motor was in? No, the motor wasn't in. All right. So here we go. Here's the engine. This is a Wisconsin twin cylinder 13 stump pulling horsepower, and I have gone through the entire engine and the clutch assembly, and I can tell you it was in actually pretty great shape, and more importantly, complete. I didn't have to look for too many parts. What I did do was I replaced the rings on the motor, and I took everything apart and cleaned it and put it back together. What was missing were the plug wires. I replaced the points and the condenser. And, and rebuilt the carburetor and that sort of thing. So there it is. We have started it. I will put up a little clip of it running here. And you can see it seems to run nice. I haven't had it running a lot, but there it is. So now, there's been a learning curve for me here because I've never worked on one of these engines before, but it's pretty simple. We had a service manual to guide us, and there's a lot of great Facebook groups on, well, or a couple of great Facebook groups on Wisconsin engines, and those guys were a big help, so I thank them. Let's move on. The skis. These were actually the last thing that I finished. I put off doing the skis because, quite honestly, I don't know anything about woodworking. I hate working with wood. I don't like the dust. I don't like anything about it. But I was going to make steel skis, and they say you should do things that frighten you. And well, making these skis actually frightened me, so here we are. I did it. I had to make a form for or a buck, I guess you would call it, for the curvature on the tips. I bought wood at the Home Depot, which was an inch wider than what Frank would have used, so these are 7 inches wide as opposed to the original 6. They're solid oak. I was able to find the right grain placement, I guess. I don't know the proper terms for this.
We had to consult.
We had to consult my friend Nails as to what kind of grain I should get. And my other buddy Kevin gave me some tips on bending the ski. So I did this pretty, I don't know, it's probably amateur, but I used my turkey fryer. And I didn't steam them, I boiled the ends, about 18 inches worth of the end of the ski. We boiled it in the turkey fryer for the appropriate amount of time, and then put it in the buck. I'll post up pictures here, you can see. Put it in the buck, and I made some clamps, and we tightened them down and did that 4 times in a row, and it actually worked out pretty good. I did get impatient on the very last bend, and it bit me in the nuts because yeah, I ended up cracking it. I took it out of the hot water too soon, 15 or 20 minutes too soon, and it freaking cracked. And I was mad and angry, and mad at myself because my impatience got the best of me. So had to do 2 more bends after that, to go get another piece of wood and do another.
Lessons learned.
Lesson learned. I can use some of that wood on a different part of this machine. So did that. Now, originally these skis would have had 2-inch wide steel running, as you can see here, around the ski and around the bottom.
Which I think we saw in the patina pile.
There may have been some left. Those skis, there was like very little of the original oak left, and they had been modified over the years. I think they probably broke, and someone put some steel on there and just kept it going. We originally surmised this machine didn't have a lot of miles on it. I have since changed my thought on that. I think it had a lot of miles and it did a lot of work, but was fairly well maintained. But so back to the ski. I've sheeted the bottom in 1/4" UHMW, and then made that runner out of UHMW as well. And 2 reasons for that.
And so that's where we've got this lipped over the edges.
Yeah, and that's how Frank would have done it with the steel. I have found pictures of original, and that's how he would have done it, and they would have been painted. Now there's another machine floating around out there that belongs to somebody in the U.S., and it was originally restored by John Livingston in Regina. And when John restored that machine, he just varnished the wood, and that looked fine, but I decided to go with paint. They would have been originally painted. Which brings up another point. So I've been accused of using the wrong color. Now,
Mercy. Oh no.
That would have been originally red, you know. I do know it was red. I don't like red. And, you know, if this was the one and only machine left, sure, we'd go with red, but I decided to go with blue.
You're really not one to conform to traditions anyway.
I did try to stay as true to original with this as I thought possible, but paint is just a color, okay? It's just a color. Anybody can change it. They can take this off. If I ever get rid of it, this can come off, be repainted.
Paint is just a color. That's really profound in 2025.
How deep?
Yeah. Learn a lesson, kids.
So, and I do intend on riding this machine, so I tried to make a couple concessions as to what would make it more rideable, if you would say. So that's why there's plastic on the skis.
Oh, I thought you were thinking blue was better to ride than red.
No. No, I just like blue. Red has its place. I didn't want red. I didn't like the red.
Okay, moving on.
So moving on. So there's plastic on the skis, and that is to make it slide better. This machine is extremely heavy on the front end.
I think we had a question online. What do we think the weight is? We may have to go to the Viterra grain terminal to hit the scale.
That's not a terrible idea. According to the book, As the Snow Flies, they're 900 to 1,000 pounds, I think.
Jesus.
That's pretty heavy. That's like twice the, that's like 2 Evinrude quiet flights together.
Which were the heaviest sleds
were
ever
pretty
made.
darn heavy. I think those were like 400 and some pounds each, so.
Got to be a big man to ride this thing.
So there we go. Paint, skis, the whole thing, everything else has been coated in black epoxy paint from Canadian Tire. I bought a black, it's a single stage, I guess you would call it. And it's a pretty thick coating. I just brushed it on. I think Frank would have just painted it black, but there you go.
It's really like structural paint.
Yeah, it's meant to like prevent things from getting rusty and durability. This paint is all trim clad. I painted it myself here in the driveway. You can see there's some little bit of orange peel in there and maybe a couple of bugs and whatever, but I just used trim clad with some thinner and a hardener in the paint to give it a little bit of gloss and make the paint a little tougher.
Arguably, I think that's turned out pretty nice.
So underneath that paint, you can see this is all new steel. Now, obviously, the top needed to be replaced because there was a great big hole cut in here with like a chimney. And then somebody had cut, there's a metal mesh underneath here that was, and the sheet metal is laid completely over it.
All right,
That was-
let's have a look at this grid
Okay.
within. So this is kind of like a 1920s trestle bridge. But no, well, that was actually that's the frame of this thing was the bridge.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. So I bought all new steel because a lot of it was cracked and it was rusted so badly. I don't think you understand, like there was very little of that sheet steel left. So I removed all the screws. I saved the old steel as patterns. So this is all 20 gauge, with the exception of the front hood here is 22 gauge because I just bought a little remnant for that. But it's all 20 gauge. On the bottom, 2 chunks here are 18 gauge. And then Frank had used self-threading screws. So I bought the same screws, I got those on Amazon. And I used all the existing holes and I tried to make it exactly the same. And the idea of that was to get rid of all the rust underneath. So everything was primed and put together and then primed again and then painted. So I think that's probably more than what Frank did when he originally built the machine. I think he just put it all together and gave it a quick coat of paint and that was done.
Quite likely.
So to prevent cracking here at the lights, I put a rubber strip in between here. The lights, from the paint that I found left on them, was a camo green. I'm sure these were Army surplus. I've replaced the lights with reproduction. They're glass, but they're LED. So they're a low amp draw. It won't tax the generator too much. Or the battery, I guess.
Very good.
Okay, so.
And
Thank China for those lights. Hey.
it's pretty bright.
Yeah, whatever, they look cool.
Nice.
And they're real glass, it's not plastic anymore. I should make a note, actually. I have, now, I learned this from my friend Kevin, who's done some magnificent restorations. Insert picture of Ski-Bee on wheels. But period correct wiring, like a lot of it back in the day, or if not all of it, was this cloth covered wire. And I've endeavored to use all cloth wire here, with the exception of the spark plug wires. You can get like reproductions that look like that, but that stuff's expensive. This stuff wasn't. Anyhow, cloth covered wire.
Boy, you know, it's the little details that matter.
Oh,
eh?
it's all in the beats. There we go.
Before you go too much further, what's with these wheels?
Oh, so these wheels, these are the same as the wheels that are underneath the machine. Now, these were, I think I explained this in a previous video. They were a surplus thing, I'm sure, that Frank got. And I have since learned that there was a brand of tractor in the late 40s called the Economy tractor. Economy brand, and they were sort of a boutique style tractor that used this style of wheel on the front. And I was able to find another pair through the Economy Tractor Facebook group. So I bought a set of busted up wheels, and I'm going to use them on the front here. Frank offered a wheel kit for probably just for driving it around in the summer or moving it around. So
Right.
I managed to get these wheels fairly inexpensively, and I'm going to put the wheel kit on it just for probably show purposes.
To be able to wheel it in and out.
Yeah, so I haven't made that part yet, but we'll get there. All right, we've moved our way to the back of the machine now. Now this is a part I actually really enjoyed working on. It was kind of fun. It's well known I don't like working with wood, but this is pretty simple. So you can see this is all plywood. Now I had the original plywood, some of it left, and so this has all been replaced with 3/4 fir plywood.
Woo, expensive stuff.
It's not really, but fir apparently is good for antifungal properties and
Everybody likes fur.
Yeah, sure. So what I did discover was the plywood, although painted on one side, the underneath had been coated with engine oil. And you could really smell it here in the summer. You pick up that old piece of plywood and you could smell that used engine oil underneath there. And you could see it too. So
Okay.
I actually recoated the underneath with some old engine oil.
Wow, look at that. And then you did the same on your side panels. Look at that. Boy, you guys, anybody giving him shit about, not staying true to form? Look at, take that. Attention to detail.
All right. The seat. So there was very little of the seat left. I had the bottom piece of wood. The gas tank wasn't here. So my friend Richard kindly offered to reproduce the gas tank for me. So it's a solid steel tank.
And
done
that's
in the same dimensions.
That's all to here. This is the tank.
Yeah, that's the tank. I had the straps here.
Because that was really all that was left, was a little bit of rotten wood and
these straps.
And those brackets.
So I guessed, looking at pictures and the seat piece of the plywood, and that's the gas tank. Originally, this is where the filler would have been here, and it would have had just an NPT plug. So we've reproduced that. There's an NPT fitting on here, but I also bought a gas cap just to go on there because I don't want to muck around with a pipe fitting every
Sure.
time. The seat, old Stan in Cudworth did the seat for me. I gave him the plywood. I told him what I wanted. We went a little bit thicker. I think the seat would have originally been red to match the machine. Well, I went with black just because. Now, this would have been, behind there was a box. There was remnants of a box that somebody had put on there. Frank, I don't think made the box, but somebody did. So I decided that would be a good way to lengthen the seat and have a little bit of storage. So here's what's going on here.
Ta-da!
Now underneath, there's a couple of wrenches here. These wrenches are solely for the nuts on either side of the wheels underneath. Because there is an adjustable nut and a lock nut, and you need two wrenches if you ever change a tire under there. So that's what these are for. The leather is made out of some plier holders that I got at Home Depot. And then here's the crank for the engine, a hand crank if your starter fails. They're all held in there with clips from Amazon. And then it's just a magnet holding it shut.
Room for
plenty of activities or amenities.
Coca-Colas and or... Cool.
All right. Moving on. Steering wheel. Reproduction steering wheel. Now I think this is it. It looks exactly the same as the one that came off, except it's not all cracked and broken. I got this on Amazon, believe it or not. I think it was the same as used on some kind of Massey tractor, but it's literally identical.
Just jammed in with a keyway and...
Yeah, and the rest of it was there. Okay, so yeah, we had to replace all the bearings and all the pillows. They were all worn out. Now, as everyone knows, you can buy Chinese bearings, but they're Chinese. So eBay was the best bet for bearing. I shop local when I can, but the price of bearings now is just ridiculous. I found some good old stock SKF bearings for up here and underneath.
But that wheel, your
steering
drive
wheel.
your drive your
This is
pulley
all
wheels.
original. Yeah. So this is on a taper lock, and there will be belts that drive here, and I have the belts, which I also picked up at PV Mart when they were going.
Oh, God
tits
bless
up.
PV Mart.
Yeah. I rebuilt the entire transmission. That is a Model A transmission, and the great thing is, Ford made like 1 million Model A cars. and there's parts available, new and used everywhere. And my good friend Les Renz hooked me up. There was a broken piece on the end of the transmission, a piece of the cast, and he got that for me. And then the bearings and stuff I just ordered, and I rebuilt the transmission, and it's all ready to go.
Thank you, Henry Ford,
Yeah.
for making a bazillion of them.
Yep. The panel here, this is a kill switch. This is your light switch, starter switch. Now originally the throttle would have been mounted in here, and it was a twist lock throttle from Wisconsin, but I have learned, as previously noted on the Snow Traveler, that a tether is probably a good idea for a machine like this. So there's a tether here now.
Just in case you do
Just in case
Jeremy Renner and go underneath the...
Yeah, don't want to run, drive over myself with my snowcat. Yeah, so, and I've built a hand throttle here. Now, this isn't quite finished, but it has to be painted and secured here yet. But, so there's a hand throttle here instead, and this is for the choke.
Okay.
Now, if you look down in the footwell here, you'll see a foot pedal. Now, I don't know if somebody put that on or if Frank put that on. I can't tell. But it's back there. I don't think I'm going to use it. I've reinstalled it just for nostalgia purposes, and it's gonna stay there. But I don't think I'm gonna hook it up. I don't think it would work well because there is an over-center hand clutch here. This is what engages the machine. You'll push down on it and the machine will engage, and you'll lift up and it will disengage. And between that and the foot pedal, I think it just might be difficult to use. One of the big things here is the battery, and you'll notice that is an enormous 6-volt
Whoa.
tractor battery. Did I need to go with a battery that big? Probably not, but this is what Frank would have had on this machine.
Well, then you had to go with this.
So there it is. That is a big 6-volt tractor battery.
6 volts.
So this had all been removed. So I recreated this and put it on here. I don't know exactly what style of battery hold down Frank would have had here, but this is what I came up with. And this is where it would have sat. Now the other thing, and this is new to me, is this is a positive ground electrical system, which means it's exactly like it sounds. You take your positive cable and that goes to your earth on your machine, and then the negative goes to your switch and your starter and your generator. It's I don't
Only
know.
in Manitoba.
No, that was a fairly common thing back in the day. With I don't understand why. I've read a couple different theories as to why that is, but I don't think any of them need repeating. All I know is that is how this machine is going to work. So, and it does work.
Okay.
We have since fired up the engine, and it does run. There's no gas in the tank now, so I'm not going to fire it up immediately. There's still a couple things yet to touch up, but that is the full. That's the full story on the machine. It's nearly finished. I don't know what else to tell you.
Where's the windshield?
Oh, the windshield is not quite. Yeah, you're right. So originally, this machine had an acrylic windshield, and it was made out of, just wait.
I know.
It was made out of quarter-inch acrylic that stood a foot tall and wrapped around, and then there would have been a strip of wood in here as a trim.
More wood.
More wood. I can't wait.
Yeah.
But I do have what's left of the original windshield, and it is here. Allow me to grab it for you. Look at this. It's quarter-inch thick.
Okay, hold still there.
Acrylic.
Let's get a good Lord.
Yeah, it's so I am not going to recreate this. This is not. I'm going to use some 16th polycarbonate. I'm gonna heat it with my little heat gun and shove it in the corners, and that's how it will look like this, but it's going to be not this robust.
Because I think that's about the same
This is
same thickness as what they're using in hockey arenas for
listen,
the.
I would have to make a little form, and I'd have to heat this all in an oven, and I'm not going to do that.
So lazy.
I can keep this for posterity's sake, but
We'll add it to the patina pile.
it goes to the patina pile.
Well, it's funny that you have to have such a big windshield, because this is clearly a speed machine.
Actually, there is one more thing. So, the track, and I'll put some pictures up here, but
Yeah.
some of the springs had been broken over the years and been replaced with some homemade, questionable looking springs. So I was on a quest for springs. So it used to be back in the day, every city, a few towns, there was a spring shop. You broke a spring, you could go have one made. Well, we live now in a time where everything can be purchased off the shelf, but not Huskymobile springs.
Oh no.
I originally thought I would be able to buy just a standard kind of leaf spring that was similar and cut it in half and use it. Well, that's not the case. Because the eyes that are on this spring are, for the size of spring they're enormous. They're 1-inch diameter eyes. And I could find a similar spring, but the eyes were so small, they wouldn't work with the axle. So I went to Truckline here in the city, and they made me some springs. Anyhow, they made me a handful of springs, and I'll grab you one. Hold that thought. And here we go. So I have a custom-made spring here. So I replaced one or two, and I've got a couple spares. So apparently the ones that were on there had broken over the years. So
Okay, so let's have a look.
all right.
You're right, that's a big eye.
It is a big eye, and the reason is that 1-inch shaft for your axle has to fit in there. So there we go.
Okay.
That is sort of the big finish. We will definitely have some video of firing it up and driving it.
What are we, the first week of October?
We are first week of October.
It's still pretty nice outside. See out the window.
I really didn't think this was going to get this far this year, but Gene and his big mouth kept pushing me and saying, "Oh, it's not that much work. It won't take that long." And I said, "Well, Gene, but I have to." And he goes, "Yeah." And
Is that how I sound?
Yeah.
Oh.
Exactly.
Well, whatever. You can't argue with results. And here we are. Look at this heap. So as I had said in the intro, when I was driving over here, this is a tremendous amount of work. Like, you guys remember what this looked like when we pulled it out of the bush, out of the vinyl siding pile. She was pretty scary.
True enough. So
It's remarkable.
I
You got room for a backpack or a case of beer? Look at him go. Wait, let's get how do you look over the hood? We do need that windshield. Is that original or is that a repo?
what?
The light.
Oh no, it's like a new old stock. I got it on eBay. I actually bought a pair of these, so it's in case one breaks. But yeah, that's old school. I bought a pair of them when you could still get shit from the States without getting fucking slammed or having to pay a fortune at the border. P.S. I have, so talking with previously mentioned John Livingston in Regina, he's still around. The machine he restored obviously is down in the United States somewhere, but John has been very helpful with me as far as he has sent me some photographs of his machine when he was working on it. I asked him some questions, some things he couldn't remember, but like I said, he was terrific in sending me some photographs. Now, he actually met Frank. Now, I'm not sure if this was in the 90s or the early 2000s, but he had met Frank, and the story is he met Frank at the, what's the place that has the Country Thunder?
Craven.
He met him at the hotel in Craven. Now, I don't know why they picked the Craven Hotel, but he went and met Frank there, and they had a talk. And Frank told him about all the different towns around Saskatchewan where he had sent some of these machines when he built them. And at the time, they pulled out a road map, and he marked on this map all the towns he could remember in Saskatchewan where he had sent machines. Now,
Okay, hold still.
this is literally a treasure map.
Oh, I see. Okay.
If you're looking for a Huskymobile, oh, no.
Oh.
This is very
Sorry.
very privileged information.
Okay, so this is where I gotta do this, so that you can't lock on the screen and see where they are.
So there's all of these towns where Frank had, and some places aren't towns anymore. That's kind of, and there are some that are marked where he sent more than one.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyhow, we have this treasure map, and I thought that was kind of neat. Now, yes, you can get in here and zoom in if you want. I don't know. If you can find, pardon me, if you can find one of these machines in one of these towns, go for it. It would really be great.
I think the takeaway on this is that, you know, a guy building enormous snowmobiles in a subarctic community, and he managed to get them all dotted around
Well,
Saskatchewan and Manitoba.
he only built the first few up in Flin Flon, and then moved the whole operation down to St. Rose, which is not that far from Winnipeg, really.
Still.
And then from there, he would, I'm going to assume, loaded them on a train and sent them to different places.
Or just
Hard to say. Now,
drove them there.
Here, listen, we'll list a couple of these towns here where he sent these. Now, this machine I found in Beauval, Saskatchewan. Now, there isn't one listed at Beauval, but the nearest town is Leask, which isn't that far. So this machine very well could have been delivered to Leask. I don't know. I've tried to get more information on it from the person I bought it from, but he just doesn't tell me anything. I've sent him a few messages and I get nothing in return. So if you know something about it, let me know. That'd be great. But okay, here's a couple other towns. So let's pick one out here. A couple went to Wynyard. A little place called Lyco. Beachy, Saskatchewan.
Beachy, do they even get snow in Beachy?
Well, it's maybe not these days, but where else? Well, Meacham. Anyhow, there's a bunch of towns.
There it is.
If you want one of these, go to some town and put up a little flyer. Maybe there's one sitting in a farmyard.
But recognize that it might look like the one, and you can put a picture up here of what you just hauled home.
Well, we can go look at that. That could be the big finish. So we have actually located yet another Huskymobile, which Nolan likes to laugh. Gravy likes to laugh about when you find something that's quote unquote rare. All of a sudden they just start coming out of the woodwork. But I brought it home last weekend.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. It's terrible, but we can go look.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go look. Oh. You got a plan for that? oh my God.
So this machine definitely would have been built by Frank up in Flin Flon. This was probably one of the earlier ones that he made. And the way you can tell that is these horseshoe springs on the front.
Good Lord.
Now, the person that I got this machine from lives up north, and he found it at a nearby lodge, talking to an old timer up there, and he said he had to go back in the bush with metal detector, and that's how he found this machine. And that was 12 or 15 years ago, and it's just been sitting there since. What am I gonna do with this? Probably nothing.
Look, is that factory moss?
It.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
probably the best thing for this, at my place anyway, is my wife puts a planter on here, and we set it in the back as yard art. Best case scenario, maybe this could go to the Flin Flon Museum, where back to the town it was made from. I don't know what's, but I just hated to see it go for scrap, so that's why it's here. I made a horribly long trip.
So there's those metal skis.
Yeah. Now I don't know.
And ridiculous springs.
Yeah. So, but I'll put up a picture here because we have a pretty good idea which machine this is actually. You know, Frank only made a handful of these in Flin Flon, so we have a pretty good idea. We suspect it was covered in canvas on the top. I don't think plywood. Looking at the picture, it looks like some canvas. You can see on the engine mounts, he's played around with different engines here, and a lot of it is very rough compared to the quote-unquote production machine. But a lot of it is similar as well. So.
You can see how these are cut out, like that's all torched by hand, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I like, it has the original driver on it, and it's still covered in rubber. You know, which would have been an old tire that he cut and wrapped around there, and that's the original driver, which mine had some of the metal left, but not a lot, so.
Far out.
So that's it. Here we are. All we need is some snow and a little more Saskatchewan ingenuity to get that thing finished, and we can go drag gravy around the yard.
We're gonna go on world tour.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Good job.
Bye. It's all things that you can still, like a lot of this came from Canadian Tire, Princess Auto, Amazon.
He would have went to the Woolsworth.
The Woolworths? I would have went directly to that lunch counter.
McLeod's.
I want what would be the sandwich of the day at Woolworths? Ham and cheese.
Sandwich. They'd make you a full 3-piece
Well,
chicken
sure,
dinner.
you can get the Salisbury steak.
Gravy and mushrooms.
And you could get it for $1.25
Well, right.
too.
Yeah, it would have been dirt cheap, you know.